If you were directing a movie, which of these two actors would you prefer to play the villain? This one?
To this handsome hunka,
or this one? Because what was once confusing and bizarre to me as a kid is now apparently brilliant. Every time I think of great villains, characters like Bill the Butcher or Daniel Plainview come to mind more often than other villains, and I think it's his extreme approach to method acting and his pursuit of perfection that allows him to create these perfect manifestations of fear, hatred, and evil in the audience's mind. Perfect in a way that makes them unforgettable and iconic, and perfect that it pushes the characters and audiences to uncomfortable situations and unforgettable endings that leave you wondering,
oh, what's in the box? What's in the fucking box?
Or what Daniel meant when he said,
I'm finished.
So I think it's time we talk about how Daniel Day-Lewis plays terrifying villains the right way. 12 leading roles, 6 nominations.
And the Oscar goes to Daniel Day-Lewis in my left.
The Oscar goes to Daniel Day-Lewis.
And the Oscar goes to Daniel Day-Lewis.
To put it another way,
he's different than most actors.
He's special.
Unlike the main hero with clear motives like take down the bad guy, a great villain requires a deeper sense of bizarre qualities to create a worthy plot. And in the words of Anthony Hopkins, aka Hannibal Lecter,
It is difficult, but it's much more fun playing the villains. Is it? Yeah, he has much more dimension to it.
put a weak villain in front of the audience, and they might think he's the joke instead of the Joker. They're laughable and annoying, to the point they can't even watch themselves on screen.
Any advice for the person who will next play Lex Luthor?
Yeah, don't watch me.
Put a villain that's charismatic, ruthless, and intelligent, and you got yourself an audience who can't seem to take their eyes off of them. The type of villain that makes you question yourself for even liking them in the first place. And it's Daniel's theatrical performance that makes Bill hypnotic and fascinating to watch, separating regular villains from their great
Spectacle of fearsome acts.
And speaking of fearsome acts, here we find Bill performing a knife-throwing act with Jenny in celebration for the death of his nemesis, Priest Vallon, the father of this man, Amsterdam Vallon. Even though Amsterdam hasn't realized it, the fate of Jenny, his lover, has slipped completely out of his hands in a pursuit of revenge for his father. But it's not in Bill's hands either. Bill is a villain with interchangeable morals.
We're living with a very structured code of ethics, even within the apparent chaos and anarchy of that place and that time. But that's not true.
Let's rewind. In this film, Daniel Day-Lewis came out of his first retirement after
For the boxer. You didn't make a movie after that.
No.
Why not?
I just felt it was time to work away at other things for a while.
What were you doing?
So long ago, I can't remember.
Many critics considered Gangs to be one of Scorsese's worst movies due to its weak narrative and Harvey Weinstein's constant interruption with the movie production.
There were still extending shooting schedules, script rewrites, release date changes, and endless nights of editing.
And it became a 3-hour movie of a boy plotting revenge for his father and falling in love with a pickpocket and a prostitute.
Is there anyone in the 5 points you haven't fucked?
Yes! You!
The true backbone and savior of this movie goes to Daniel Day. Now, it's important to note that Bill is a living and breathing embodiment of contradiction.
You hate him, but you tend to also love him. To all the contradictions of what it is to be human.
In battle, he'll use any dirty tactics to gain an advantage, like when he grabs and throws one of his own men at Priest Vallon to shield him from a counterattack. Yep, that man in blue is from his own gang. In the public's eye, he'll pay a man that's about to be hanged to purchase his locket.
I'll give you $1 for it. It's me mother's? $1.50. Don't.
But he's fine with letting Monk take money from the body of the dead priest,
No hand shall touch him!
Not before I get what's owed.
as long as it's not him that's doing it.
It's fair, touching, delicate, but fair.
He treats ladies with respect to show how much of a gentleman he is.
How do you do, Mr. Cutting?
As of this moment, extremely well, thank you. How do you do?
Even with Jenny. But after seeing her fall for Amsterdam, she becomes bait to lure him out during the celebration. After luring Amsterdam,
Whoopsie daisy!
he maintains eye contact while tarnishing his father's name and legacy.
I extinguish his life and consume him as I consume these flames in honor of Priest Vallon.
To provoke Amsterdam. Which leads us to Daniel Day-Lewis' Manipulative Charm. While Bill says,
Saves my life one day so he can kill me the next like a sneak thief instead of fighting like a man.
he's the one sneaking up behind Priest Vallon to deliver the killing blow. He kills Monk by backstabbing him, and he relies on the fog of war during his fight with Amsterdam. All of them are sneak attacks, and in the script, it even goes as far as Bill killing Amsterdam before Monk stops him by grabbing his arm. But in the final cut of the movie, Bill performs a grotesque demonstration.
All right, let's kiss goodnight to that pretty young face of yours.
In public, he's bounded by his morals and refuses to finish Amsterdam in front of the crowd.
He ain't earned the death at my hands!
But in private, he laughs in the morality of others.
What in heaven's name are you talking about?
My allegiance is to the law. I'm paid to uphold the law.
I don't give a tuppeny fuck about your moral conundrum, you meat-headed shitsack.
Manipulating them.
I want you to go out there.
By sarcastically crying.
And I want you
to sympathize with an animal.
Punish the person who's responsible for murdering this poor little rabbit.
Over the life of a human.
Is that understood?
Right.
Yes.
Just looking at Daniel Day-Lewis, he's just incredible.
But when Sheriff Jack is found dead in the next scene, he pays him more respect than a handful of elected officials.
I could spare half a dozen of you easier than I can spare him.
And when his actions are questioned,
Killed an elected official?
it'll make you wonder how you even had the guts to ask him that in the first place. And I don't mean the tapping of his glass eye. Day-Lewis's delivery of his monologue makes you wonder how he never won an Oscar for this performance.
I took the father, now I'll take the son. You tell young Valen, I'm gonna paint Paradise Square with his blood. 2 coats. I'll festoon my bedchamber with his guts. As for you, Mr. Tammany fucking Hall, you come down to the points again, and you'll be dispatched by mine own hand.
To work with Mr. Day-Lewis was a huge thrill for me, and the character is one of the more menacing, treacherous characters ever on film.
One of the greatest experiences of my life, I must say. We did 2 films together, and maybe there's time for one more.
Challenge accepted.
Even though his next villain role wouldn't be with Marty Scorsese, it did lead him to 2 years of isolation and to his second Oscar in Paul Thomas Anderson's There Will Be Blood, a movie about an oil tycoon who started from the bottom. Now my whole team fucking here. Although not as flashy as Drake, the role gave Daniel Day-Lewis a total of 43 wins as Best Actor. Enter Daniel Plainview, both the protagonist and the villain, representing a number of themes, including man versus self, church versus state, greed, capitalism, hypocrisy, and family relationships. A character so complex that PTA could only imagine one act.
That's the holy grail if you can get to it. But it kept coming and coming and coming that the only man for the job would be Daniel if he decided he would want to do it.
The whole movie is a constant push and pull with Paul Dano, who plays Eli of the Sunday Family. And the reason for the back and forth.
As far as Plainview's concerned, he recognizes the fraudulence. And I dare say, my fraudulence, as far as I'm concerned, would have a certain nobility to it, whereas his spiritual fraudulence, there's no excuse for that, is there?
So, how can an oil man be terrifying? Well, there are 2 ways. First is through the
physicality of this character.
During the reservoir scene.
When do we get our money, Daniel?
In the script, Daniel only needed to slap Eli and take him down to his knees. But the genius of his physical improv begins here. We see Daniel pull Eli by the hair and drag him to the muddy oil reserve.
Don't even try it. Right. Splash around in here.
By doing this, Daniel now has the ability to cover him with oil before delivering the key dialogue and foreshadowing the movie's ending.
I'm gonna bury you underground, Eli. Oh, I'm gonna bury you underground.
Well, Paul Dano's got the bruises to prove it. You know, the reservoir scene would be shot on one day, and then the next day we would do the baptism scene, so Paul Dano could get his retribution immediately.
Another technique Daniel does is through the physical metamorphosis of his character.
The best special effect you can have is a great actor. Like
when the movie opens, he falls down a deep well and breaks his ankles.
He was on a harness so that he could fall And I said something that you should probably never say to Daniel Day-Lewis, which is, it looks fake. And then he fell down the 50-foot mine shaft and he hit his back and broke some ribs, and it looks pretty good.
Daniel gets a limp which grows more and more pronounced as the story progresses. And by the last scene, the limp is very hard to miss. He sways side to side with every step he takes. He's also doing this with his mouth. Like a gluttonous beast, he's always chewing throughout the movie.
There's something about compulsive oral gratification in a human being. You know, there's an insatiable, there's a rapaciousness there.
By the end, he's smacking his lips and drooling saliva as he's confronting Eli.
The choices that he makes within the film are inevitably pushing the whole thing forward. He's storytelling, he's a storyteller.
Which is why Quentin Tarantino says,
Ever there's a movie that demands to be seen twice, if not more, but definitely it needs to be seen twice before you can really have an intelligent discussion about it. It would be There Will Be Blood.
And on my fourth viewing, I finally understood what Tarantino meant.
With the voice being such a deep personal reflection of character, of who we are, it's kind of a fingerprint of the soul, I think.
Yes. For example, when he gives the speech of,
Ladies and gentlemen, if I say I'm an oil man, you will agree.
it seems like any regular sales pitch. But when you dig deeper, you start to find that everything he says is a lie. He's lying to us when he says,
And the men that work for me, and they are men I know.
Because when one of his men died,
Lost a man down the well.
What man?
Joe Gunda.
Did I know him? No.
and when he says,
I don't lose my tools in the hole and spend months fishing for them. Go fish.
How much longer will the men be fishing? You fish until you find the piece. It's been almost 3 weeks. Is that normal?
and when he says,
I'm a family man. I run a family business. This is my son and my partner, H.W.
HW is actually adopted from one of his men that died earlier in the movie.
You know, he's got his snake bite remedy and he's going to sell that whatever way he can from town to town. And a silver tongue that's going to convince people to turn their pockets inside out.
Even when he mentions having cash.
I can guarantee to start drilling and to put up the cash to back my word.
When do we get our money, Daniel?
He beats up Eli when he demands payment as contractually promised.
Well, good. Let's draw up some contracts and let's give it a try.
And invest in him as a man of irrefutable wisdom and...
By the end, the charming snake oil man is fully transformed, resembling an older version of a deranged beast. He slurs his line deliveries, and his speech pattern is erratic.
Across the room and starts to drink your milkshake. I drink it up!
Leading to my favorite improv in the bowling alley scene. Eli runs out of money and offers Daniel the last piece of land he never got.
I'm offering you to drill on one of the great undeveloped fields of Little Boston.
I'd be happy to work with you.
He entertains Eli and accepts his offer.
A $100,000 signing bonus plus the $5 that is owed to me with interest.
That's only fair.
It's wonderful.
But there is one condition for this work. I'd like you to tell me that you are a false prophet.
In the script, Eli says the false prophet line 2 times, but Daniel copies what Eli did to him during the baptism scene. He makes Eli repeat the line for a total of 6 more times until he breaks.
I am a false prophet, and God is a superstition. If that's what you believe, then I will say it.
Say it like it's your sermon.
I am a false prophet. God is a superstition.
Why don't you stand up?
I am a false prophet. God is a superstition.
Eli, stop. Just imagine this is your church here, and you have a full congregation, so...
I am a false prophet. God is a superstition.
Say it again.
I am a false prophet. God is a superstition.
I can't hear you at the back.
I am a false prophet. God is a superstition.
Say it again.
I am a false prophet. God is a superstition.
Say it again.
I am a false prophet. God is a superstition.
Those areas have been drilled.
And as if that wasn't enough, he's about to hit Eli where it hurts the most.
He knew what was there, and he found me to take it out of the ground.
Instead of smacking Eli as directed, Daniel imitates the false prophet himself and improvises a lie.
The funny thing is, listen. I paid him $10,000 cash in hand. Just like that. He has his own company now. A prosperous little business, 3 wells producing $5,000 a week.
He destroys Eli's confidence
Stop crying, you sniveling ass. Stop your nonsense.
before fulfilling his old prophecy
I'm gonna bury you underground, Eli.
and striking him out with the bowling pin.
I'll never forget laying there in the blood and hearing Daniel say the last line of the film.
I'm finished.
I don't think anybody else would have done what he did.
The extreme prep for his method acting rewards the audience.
We go to these great lengths to try and create a world for
He
ourselves.
doesn't need to do unnecessary things like
The Joker, he did some bad things, Jared Leto did. He gave some really horrific gifts.
Don't forget the anal beads, the used condoms.
In fact, it's quite the opposite. The key to his amazing performances is building trust with his co-stars.
He's a real nice guy, and he sometimes on the weekends he'd come over for dinner.
I would spend time with him on the weekends because he has a kid, and I had my son there with me sometimes, and we'd have these play dates. And the most gentle, kind, like generous man.
The paradox is that you have to create a working partnership with that person. The greater the animosity between those characters, the greater
The energy that's going towards the scene.
Bringing characters to life and creating terrifying villains that lingers inside of us even after the movie is finished. As always, thank you for watching. Subscribe and like the video if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one.